Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. So, young ladies out there, young men out there, there is something that we have to address that's causing everybody a lot of stress, causing the world a lot of problems, no matter where you're from. And it's teen pregnancy. So, getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant between, let's say, the ages of 16 and 19 is it's a life-changing decision, whether it's planned or not, and there are many factors that some of y'all don't even consider. So once you're at this stage of life, it's a lot of changes, okay? And bringing a child into the world, that adds major responsibility, especially between the ages of 16 and 19. So, there's certain things that you need to think about, Now, I ain't nobody's father or nothing like that, but these are some things that I wish that some kids would think about, when it comes to things like that. One of the main things is you have to be emotionally ready for something like that. Are you mature enough to handle the demands of parenting? Some of y'all just be having sex for sport, just for fun, and not thinking about what comes after it. Do you understand that a child's needs, are love, attention, patience, and support 24/7? Do you know that you have to do those things? Remember that. You have to think about these things before you even decide to lay down with somebody. You need to think about how becoming a parent will affect your health and your identity at that age. You got to think about, relationship stability. Is your relationship with your other partner stable and respectful? Can you co-parent if the relationship ends? Got to think about that too, right? Are you both on the same page about keeping the baby? You think about this stuff. These are scenarios you can, before you even decide to be intimate with someone. These are scenarios you can just run through your head about the person. It's all fun and games with you all lovey-dovey and, I love him. No, that's my girlfriend. That's my boyfriend, all this other stuff, But are you both on the same page about keeping the baby, about raising the baby, and supporting each other? Is that even going to happen if you get pregnant or if you get someone pregnant? Another key factor that a lot of y'all don't think about is family, and just social support. You be thinking that your family already got stuff going on, and here you are trying to have a kid, or you done got pregnant, or you done got someone pregnant. Will your parents or your guardians even support you, or will they disapprove? Do you have a strong support system, to help with your child care? And some of y'all be having kids, don't even have a babysitter, don't have no guidance, no emotional support, And your friends aren't going to be mature enough to understand your responsibilities. You may have some solid friends here and there, but for the most part, they're going to go do their thing. They're going to go have fun while you are left to take care of a child. And then there's the financial realities of everything. Babies are expensive. Diapers are expensive. Clothes are expensive. Food is expensive. Doctor visits are expensive. And we haven't even gotten into childcare. Daycares are like paying rent. That stuff is expensive. Do you or your partner have a job? Most likely you don't have a job, or you have to get a job because you never had a job. Can you work and go to school at the same time? Because that's going to happen. So think about it. You get pregnant while you're in high school. Not only do you have to work, but you have to get up and go to school. And you have to figure out who's going to want your child while you're in school or while you're at work. Then when you get off, you have to spend time with your child. When are you going to get sleep? You know? Can you work a job and go to school at the same time and take care of a child? You know? And if you can't pay for these things, who's going to help you? Hey, the financial thing probably is the most craziest part about it. And there's some things that you could throw out the window too. I know some of y'all feel like you're strong and, oh, I can make it work and I'm not going to listen to no negativity. Not being negative. Right now, I'm being honest about how it's going to feel. So, how they have, like if you have a baby, will it affect you finishing high school or even going to college or even finishing college? Are there teen parent programs around you? Are there flexible school options in your area? Are you just going to homeschool it? What? Will you have time and energy to pursue your own goals? Or will you have to delay your dreams, or sacrifice your dreams because you have to take care of your child? That child's going to come first. That's your priority. Health, health and medical considerations. That's some stuff that you need to consider too. Are you getting, parental, prenatal care? Are you getting that from your doctor to protect your health and the babies? Do you understand the physical risk of teen pregnancies? Your body might not even be able to handle a pregnancy, Are you avoiding alcohol, drugs, tobacco? Is your better half avoiding it as well? Are they trying to be healthy as well? It ain't just the person that's pregnant that needs to stay healthy. The person that got you pregnant needs to be healthy as well too. They need to be, their minds and brains need to be sharp for the journey ahead. Do you know your legal rights and responsibility? A lot of y'all don't realize because it has to be reported, but underage pregnancy is not, I think it's illegal. I don't know anymore. There's so many different laws now. But who has legal custody of the baby? Are you legally able to make medical decisions for your child? In some states, I think teenage parents have limited rights or may need parental permission. So you don't realize, like, once you get pregnant or you get somebody pregnant, you're holding your own parent responsible. That's why a lot of them get on you and they jump on your case because they know that they have to be liable for a lot of things. And they have to sit there and say, oh my God, is my son going to go to jail for, he's 17 and he got a 15-year-old pregnant, or he's 18 and he got a 17-year-old pregnant, oh my God, my daughter just got pregnant and she's 16, what's going on? She ain't gonna be able to take care of the child. I'm gonna have to, be that child's parent and guardian. It's a lot of things that go on. So there's a lot of legal rights and responsibilities you got to think about. The long-term impact. What kind of life do you want to create for your child? If you're serious about this, are you prepared to put someone else's needs before your own? Pretty much for the next 18 plus years. Are you ready for that? You got to think about it. You just a baby. You just a kid. You just in high school. You're just in high school. Are you ready for that? I don't think so. I don't think so. To put somebody's needs before your own, it's a lot of stress. Have you considered adoption? I know that's a taboo word, but there's other options if parenting doesn't feel realistic for some. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but you need to do what's right for that child in the situation, because there are certain programs where even though you put them up for adoption, you can still see your child and still visit and be around that child's life. You're just, there's different options. Another thing you got to think about is your own mental health. Depression, anxiety is going to kick in, postpartum Depression is going to kick in. You're going to have mood disorders, you know, especially as a young parent. You done threw your hormones all out of whack by getting pregnant. You're already going through a hormonal stage as a teenager. Now they're really out of whack. And you're going through every emotion. And you don't know why you feel the way you feel. Do you have access to counseling, support groups? You know, how will you take care of your own mental health while trying to raise a child? That's why you see a lot of stuff on the news where people are getting arrested for what they're doing to their kids, because a lot of them aren't mentally there, and then they can't raise a child because they're a danger to that child. So what all this comes down to is, are you willing to make decisions based on lust, or peer pressure, from your partner? How will you handle judgment or isolation from your peers if you say no? Because you can say no. You can say, I'm not ready yet. A lot of y'all are afraid to do that. But there's a lot of power in saying, no, I'm not ready yet. Or no, I'm not going to have sex. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of power in it. And there's a lot of clarity and peace in it, because you have to think about your life in those moments. And if you're ready to take on another life. And truth is you're not. Other people are probably going to tell you certain things. I'm going to be honest, you're not. And it don't take you watching a movie. It don't take you going on YouTube and watching people's testimonies. It don't take you watching a Lifetime movie or hearing a song or seeing something on Instagram or TikTok. It's real simple. You're not ready. Wait. You got your whole life in front of you. Go enjoy life. Go to college. Start your career. Take the right steps so you know that you're ready. Because the main thing is you're not financially stable to do it. And you're putting a burden on your own family to help you take care of it, even though they're still trying to help you and raise you. Now, not only do they have to raise you, they have to raise your child. But as always, that's just my unsolicited advice. You can take it or leave it.